Good morning, Norbert.
Good morning, Nick. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. And thank you for having me on board. It's a privilege to be here.
I'm grateful for your time and sharing your knowledge about emotional intelligence in the practical way from an insider point of view. So, being an insider, do you want to introduce yourself? I'm pretty sure you're going to do better than I can do. Yeah, just go on. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my name is Norbert. People call me NC or Norbs. I work in the football industry, the football world. I'm an academy coach at Norwich City in the UK. I also run a men's team, adult team. I coach children as well, boys and girls. I also collaborate with some clubs across Europe regarding coach education, like the Ajax Coaching Academy, Dinamo Zagreb from Croatia. Recently, we had a great interview with Sevilla, which is also kind of on board with this educational program, and the Celtic Soccer Academy from Scotland. And I studied my master's degree in performance football coaching. So I do a lot of research lately, especially on the emotional intelligence side. Played football when I was a kid, obviously, as everybody else who didn't make it, decided to be a coach. But the breakthrough in my career was when I understood why I want to be a coach and why I do what I do. And mainly, I think that was to give my players what I have not gotten from my coaches. And that helped me a lot, yeah.
So I introduced you as an insider, and based on your introduction, you are really into football and education.
Yes.
On the last point, what you would like to empower the kids and even the less young, let's call it. What are those things that you didn't have as an athlete and you want to empower your people with?
Well, I think it's a natural thing as human beings. We want to be noticed and appreciated and listened to. I grew up in Serbia back in the days. There was like 2 wars going on when I was a kid, and the environment was a bit tough, like emotional intelligence and mental health. And these topics were not even in the question. People didn't know about this. And, as a guy, you had to be tough and soak it up and just do what they tell you to do. No questions asked. Nobody cared about how you feel. And there was just one style of coaching. Like there was a textbook of coaching, which is the country of nowadays. There's no such thing as a textbook, as we spoke about on the podcast where you joined us. Everybody's different, so we have to approach each individual differently. But I think one thing is common in us is that if we are looked after, if we feel that we are safe around the person, we do open ourselves, open up, and communication starts happening between the two people. And I think that's where our natural skills, competencies come alive. That environment is created for us to flourish and grow. And that's what I want to give my players. I want them to feel safe and not judged. I want them to understand that I'm here for them. And I'm here for their long-term development. So I think that's something that I didn't get, and that's something that I give.
Norbert, being listened and performance. How do the first influence the other?
Well, I'll give you an example. For example, if I'm planning a session and I'm coaching what I want to coach instead of what I need to coach, how do I know what I need to coach? It's simple. Just ask. Ask how the player feels about the session, or ask how the player feels in general that day. Is everything fine with him? Is everything okay at home? Is everything okay with the family, with the friends? At work, if it's not a professional player. At school, if it's a child. You never know what's going on. So in order to work with someone, I feel and I believe that we need to get to know that person before we work with them. And that's when listening comes in. And that's when performance, if you feel good, you will perform better. I think it's a natural human thing.
Is a point I really agree on. Performance is a consequence of well-being. And you mentioned the person starts to open. And I was thinking about creating a psychological safe an emotional safe environment for the players to open up. And of course, listening is a crucial part. So I'm grateful for the chat we're having, because you are really into this typology of education and you work on a daily basis on athletes and footballers as well. What about coaches and the board? Not the athletes anymore, but the board. How emotional intelligence, knowledge, and practical activities can influence or enhance the relationship with them, the mutual comprehension, communication.
I'm glad that you asked this question, because when I was reading about it, I was like, oh, that's a good question, because I think that's a topic that's not really talked about, and I think it's very much needed, because everything starts from the top, right? All decisions and everything will roll downhill. I don't want to say something, but it does, and it's not considered how coaches feel. It's not considered how board members feel. It's not considered what drives the certain CEO of a club to become successful with a club. Is it financial? Is it personal? There was a really interesting conversation I had with one Korean gentleman that wanted to buy a club in the UK. Said there's three types of owners. One is business driven. One is result driven, wants to win leagues and cups. And the third one is just the genuine emotional connection for football, and to well, obviously win games, but also create that right environment for the community of the club. And those are the ones that are mostly successful on the long-term run. So, but this is not considered. This is not talked about, because on the end of the day, board members create the environment for the coaches, which is myself. So if I feel good, I will perform better. And if I perform better, the players will perform better. And isn't it the player that is the end product for us? Isn't it the player that makes, I don't want to say it in a business way, but I don't think I can say it in a different way, the money for the club? Because if players play good, we have good results. If there's a great academy player, we can sell him for a lot of money. The club will make good money. And the player will make more money, higher salary. Maybe he can help for his community. So again, it all starts up there. And I do agree with you, and I'm very happy that this topic is actually becoming more and more common. That what about the board members? What about the coaches? Who's thinking about our emotional status? But not just emotional status, but our emotional intelligence. Are we aware, as you spoke, are we aware about how we feel? And do we know why do we do what we do? And obviously we can devolve into this topic, but it's very important, just to cut it short there.
I've enjoyed. I like the point of the three typology of. I would reiterate, when we put emotions, good emotions and passion in what we do, the performance is again a consequence.
Yeah.
We think differently. We are not oriented on the business or the strict performance, but we are considering the project more holistic. I brought this question up because I do chat with a person, and he's a football coach in, say, the Middle East. I don't want to say the country. And we discuss often that he loves football, like in the team and the match and preparing the match. And what is an annoyance sometimes is the relationship with the board, admin, sometimes the other coaches as well, team managers, assistants, and foreign investors. So I'm sensing what you're saying. Not everyone look after how the coach is feeling. You kind of responded already, and I encourage to give like even a deeper comment on this. How important is for a club or a federation, or even better, a confederation, to embrace this typology of emotional training, psychological training, reciprocal understanding? We can agree that when the humans can listen to each other, can communicate with each other, the final performance gonna improve, not just the athletes, but the coach as well, and the assistants as well, and the team managers as well, and the non-players too, like in the offices and all the departments that are inside a club, a federation, or confederation. What's your opinion on this?
I'm just gonna say it's massively important because, for example, what we said, feeling good has the outcome of a natural good performance, right? We say it's a result-driven business, football, and in order to deliver results, I believe that it all comes from the emotions. When you're doing your UEFA courses as a coach, they teach us a lot of technical stuff, how to plan a session, how to scout a player, video analysis, this and that. But they don't talk enough about the mental side of the game, the emotional intelligence side or the psychological side. Obviously, we can categorize it in different groups. But I think on the top sits emotional intelligence. And they should talk about it a lot. And the example is, if you ever heard about this, the work hours being cut in the Scandinavian countries, in Finland, I think it happened, where they cut it to 6 hours a day or something like that. And they kept track of it. And after a while, they noticed that the performance actually with less hours was much better. So same people, same skills, same products being produced, same type of work, but better outcome. Results were better. Why? Because these people felt better. So it doesn't matter if it's football, work, sales, construction, whatever. As long as the people feel right and the right environment is created for them, they will become better. So it's really important for associations as well to introduce this and implement coaches in each, let's say, course for the UEFA licenses, like we have UEFA C, B, A, and Pro, in order to understand how, not even to coach this, but how to create the environment and how to notice different characters and individuals. But then again, is this coachable? As we spoke about it, it comes down to the way we grew up, the background we have, the country we come from, the values that our parents kind of incorporated in us throughout our lifetime, the life experience that we have. It's not even maturity, it's life experience, which was an interesting quote that I heard once. Somebody said, it's not about being mature, it's about the life experience. What we went through life shaped us and gave us that emotional intelligence. I would love to see more of this in football. And I think and I know that it will be more and more often talked about and eventually implemented. It's just a matter of time.